Melody has been very active on her social media, specifically her TikTok and IG lives, and this time she's alleging that possibly one of her castmates, Stormi Steele, what's up, might be or might have always had a friendship with her ex's baby's mama, also aka Coleslaw, aka the other woman, aka Ariane Curry.
Melody's rise was not overnight. It was forged in nights of doubt, days of rejection, moments of feeling unseen. She battled inner critics that whispered she was never enough. She watched friends come and go, seen people succeed where she stumbled. But still, she held on to her voice, her vision, her hope. Then came the reality TV life. Exposure, cameras, relationships under a microscope. That world promised fame, yes, but also came loaded with peril. Trust becomes currency. Alliances form and fracture in real time. In that arena, you hope for someone to have your back, someone to lean on when the storm crashes in. Enter Stormi Steele. When she first appeared alongside Melody, fans saw a bond. Two women who seemed to get one another. Laughing on interviews. Supporting each other on social media. Sharing backstage moments.
Presenting her proof on social media, saying that allegedly this person was texting Ariane, thinking that they're texting Ariane, but it was a phone that Ariane used to have that Martell gave to his son.
The chemistry looked natural. It looked easy. In a world full of forced alliances, theirs felt real. For Melody, Stormi looked like a confidant she could trust, someone who understood ambition, someone who knew the price of visibility. To the outside eye, their friendship was picture perfect. But with fame, people rarely show the shadows behind the spotlight. The late nights when you stare at your phone. The conversations you don't post. The doubts and fears you bury. Melody carried her own scars into that friendship, places where she already felt fragile, waiting for cracks to form. And yet, despite that fragility, she allowed herself to believe. She believed in Stormi. She believed they were allies in that battlefield of showbiz. She believed that someone she welcomed so close would have the decency not to stab her in the back. But here's the twist: the dagger didn't come from an enemy.
What Melody is accusing a person on her cast, because I don't believe she even said the person. No. She didn't say the person's name, but she did show video footage, which is so funny to me that she showed the video footage that we've been talking about when we were talking about Stormi and her lawsuit with Kyle. And I told you, I remember seeing her post this video of her getting in the Tesla truck and...
Y'all, my damn jaw was on the floor. Like, what the it's the fact that he got my dream truck less than a month after I said I loved it. Like, how you even do that? Like, it's a Tesla cyber stuff. Like, what the...
It came from within. It began small. A text message that seemed off. A comment veiled in ambivalence. A social media post that pained more than it celebrated. Nothing screamed betrayal at first, it whispered. But whispers echo. Melody started noticing patterns. A message that arrived late at night, from a number she didn't immediately recognize. The phrasing was eerily familiar, phrases she'd heard Stormi utter before.
I'm so glad Destiny called her out. And so who are they trying to text? Remember, this is a person thinking they're texting my ex's baby's mother. That's who they think they're texting.
The tone, the pacing, even some oddly casual slang. At first, Melody dismissed it, telling herself she was overthinking. But the messages kept coming. Each one tugged at her gut. She confronted her doubts. She replayed older text threads. She watched shades in public comments. She looked for context, for an explanation. But what she found instead was silence. Stormi's replies got shorter. Sometimes she'd ignore entire threads. Publicly, she'd maintain a neutral facade, liking other posts, engaging with fans but never offering clarity when the tension began. Then, one day, Melody received a text referencing a private conversation only she and Stormi had shared, something intimate, something personal. It was a message that made no sense to anyone else, except someone listening. The realization hit her like ice. Whoever was sending these messages had access. They knew things. They were playing an inside game. Melody confronted Stormi. She asked directly, "Did you send those texts? Why delete the threads? What's going on?" But Stormi's responses were vague, dismissive, or silent. No acknowledgement. No apology. Just an uneasy calm. Over time, the balance of power shifted. Melody felt gaslit, doubted, and betrayed. But she couldn't show weakness, not in public. She already knew how cruel the internet can be. Complicating everything were the public pressures. The show demanded drama. Fans demanded entertainment. Every split second, someone was watching, judging, picking sides. Some fans told Melody she was being paranoid. Others told her she was wrong to doubt Stormi. Some defended Stormi. The noise grew louder. The pressure mounted. Then came the breaking point. A social media post, not just any post, one that crossed a sacred boundary. Stormi shared images of people close to Melody, family, children, behind-the-scenes moments that had been off-limits. Moments Melody never wanted shared. Moments of vulnerability. Moments of private grief. Stormi captioned some of them innocuously, but the act was a violation. For Melody, it was more than a post. It was a message: "I'm not afraid. I can use your life." The images were subtle jabs, a reminder that the guard had been broken. The betrayals had eyes now. The safe zones were gone. That night, Melody sat in silence, staring at her phone, feeling exposed. She knew she had to strike back. She had to speak. She had to reclaim her narrative. In the heat of that decision, she recorded her response, raw, unfiltered, on TikTok. She didn't name names, not at first, but every word carried the weight of accusation. She laid out the timeline, the messages, the deletion, the silence, the social media betrayal. She voiced her pain. She set boundaries. She refused to be minimized. Fans erupted. Support poured in. Criticism followed. Stormi still remained quiet, refusing to respond publicly. Some commentators claimed innocence. Others argued that Melody's evidence was circumstantial. But for many, the silence was telling. If you have nothing to hide, you speak. But Stormi stayed mute. And so the battle lines formed. It was not just about truth anymore. It was about legacy. Whose side would history take? The tactics escalated. Some posts, some replies, subtle digs, veiled statements. But Melody stayed consistent. She didn't stoop. She didn't name. She narrated. She remained anchored in dignity, even when she felt hollow. In interviews, fans picked apart every gesture. Each time Melody showed strength, they praised her. Each time she wavered, they empathized. Some speculated whether Stormi would ever break silence. Some wondered whether this friendship could ever be repaired. But at the core was a woman who decided, enough is enough. This scandal didn't just hurt public images. It cut through flesh and bone. For Melody, every betrayal unraveled something personal: her sense of safety, her faith in others, her belief that loyalty was real. She slept less. She asked more questions. She cried in moments no one saw. She wrestled with guilt. Was she overreacting? Was she wrong? Was she hurting someone she once loved? But the evidence haunted her. The silences. The messages. The social media crossfire. Her family felt it too. Loved ones who saw her pain found themselves tiptoeing around sensitive topics. Children, if present, felt the tension. She had to shield people she cared about while the storm raged. That emotional weight twisted days into hollow routines. Her career took hits. Fans demanded responses. Media blasted her onslaughts. Some detractors called her paranoid or dramatic. Some accused her of seeking attention. The louder she spoke, the louder the doubt from naysayers. But for every critic, there were others saying, she's courageous. She's real. She had to push through the whirlwind while trying to protect her boundaries. Relationships she once trusted became fragile. Who could she talk to? Who would believe her? Who might leak her secrets? She became wary of closeness. Every new acquaintance felt like a potential threat. The loneliness doubled. Through it all, though, Melody discovered something, strength she never knew. The betrayal awakened a fiercer version of herself. One who refused to accept silence as protection. One who insisted that boundaries are sacred, and that violations even by beloved people demand accountability. She started writing again, pouring pain into art. She focused on healing. She set firmer lines in relationships. She held on to those few she trusted implicitly. She began speaking publicly in measured tones, letting her audience see both her vulnerability and her power. The emotional toll was heavy, but the rebirth that had a light to it. Now, standing here, this final moment demands attention. Melody's silence is broken, and as she speaks, the world listens. Her voice cracks and steadies. She shares not just a story of betrayal, but a story of survival. She doesn't claim to know all the answers. She doesn't demand instant justice. But she insists on being seen, heard, and believed. In a world that profits off scandal and disloyalty, Melody is reclaiming agency. The question remains, will Stormi answer? Will she offer apology, clarification, or more silence? And even if Stormi steps forward, will that ever undo the damage? Will trust ever rebuild? Here's what I want you to hold. We see celebrities, we judge their lives, we assume their friendships are forever. But they feel pain. They bleed. They carry wounds. And betrayal doesn't stop being traumatic just because it happens in public. Melody's story is a reminder boundaries matter. Loyalties must never be blind. And sometimes silence is not strength, it's surrender. Right now, Melody stands at a crossroads. She's declared her truth, drawn her lines, and challenged those who doubt her. She doesn't necessarily expect redemption from Stormi. She may not even want it. What she wants, what any of us deserves, is closure, accountability, and the freedom to heal. So we ask, will Stormi respond? Will the truth get louder? Will the friendship ever breathe again? Or will this be the breaking point, the moment where a friendship turns into a lesson, where betrayal becomes a turning point rather than a downfall? In the end, we don't just watch drama. We watch a woman reclaim her narrative. We watch pain turned into purpose. So when the silence breaks and the world listens, what will you believe? And who will you protect? If you want to see Stormi's side, her response, or the next chapter in Melody's fight, stick around. Because this story is far from over. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for every update as we continue unfolding the truth, one voice at a time.